They're not glowing reviews.
Well, I don't worry about the newspaper headlines. What I worry about is making a budget, the budget choices that are right for the nation. And what we've done in this budget is we have charted a path to surplus. We have focused on jobs and growth. That's what we do as a Labor government. And we are also making room for the wise investments our country needs for the future, making sure every child goes to a great school and making sure we better support people with disabilities because our nation has let them down for far too long.
Even without the revenue write-down, you'd still be recording a deficit this year, not a surplus as promised.
And the difference there is the movement of some spectrum sale. So it's not an increase in expenditure, it's the movement of some spectrum. But, Sabra, let's be clear, the big difference here has been the less tax money coming into the government than what was expected. Over 5 years, that is more than $60 billion less. In the past, we've seen $170 billion of tax money come out of the government's budget. That's about the global financial crisis and its overhang. It's about the strong Australian dollar. Indeed, it's about a set of events that haven't happened before in our economy.
But still, it was something that you said failure was not an option on the surplus question.
And we relied on the best possible advice, the same people who advised Prime Minister Howard and governments before that. But Sabra, if we're going to chide us and chide the forecasters for not getting it right, then let's be clear, you're chiding us for not foreseeing something that's never happened before in Australia's economic history.
Okay, but you've just pointed all of that out then. So how can you be so confident then in your forward forecasts of a surplus in 2016-17?
Well, understanding what has happened in this period, where growth in nominal GDP has been less than growth in real GDP, that's the technical explanation, but it's really about the terms of trade coming off, but the dollar staying so strong, hitting into company profits and therefore hitting into government revenues. We now understand that. We also can understand when those pressures are going to change and we're going to return to a more normal revenue environment. So Treasury, as it has guided governments in the past, is guiding us.
And it's still guiding you in those papers. It says that commodity prices are still going to be a bit fickle. It even says that the path ahead is not going to be seamless.
Oh, absolutely. And the forecasts all deal with those questions. So that's not something that's going to change the forecasts. The forecasts have been based understanding those factors. And what does that mean? Not seamless? Well, it means we're moving from the peak of the investment phase in the mining boom, which employs more people, going to the production phase, which employs less people. We therefore need other sections of the economy to step up and employ people and push growth. And that movement won't be seamless, which is why the budget, for example, has a slight drift up in the unemployment rate.
But you're still relying on that forecast for commodity prices.
Well,
something that's completely fickle.
Well, those forecasts have been made understanding that transition in the economy. Sabra, you seem to be creating an impression that we've got economic commentary here and forecasts over here. The forecasts have been done based on that economic commentary. We understand that transition isn't going to be seamless. We're also relying on the best possible forecasts of the terms of trade. Anyone sitting in this chair, Prime Minister Howard sitting in this chair, would be getting the same advice. The important thing is, what do you do having received that information? Well, in this budget, we've made a set of important choices, wise spending for the future. We are prepared to be judged by that. I want our nation to have better schools and every child to have a better education. I want us to support people with disabilities. We've made the choices to do that and people can judge that.
All the major business groups have given this the thumbs down. They say that the document's confusing, it does nothing for confidence.
Well, I don't accept that analysis. The budget documents are the budget documents. They're formatted as the budget has been in the past. What people have seen in these budget documents is $43 billion of savings. What that means is that we've had a very careful, very methodical, very thorough process. And why have we done that? Because we are a Labor government, and even in these unusual economic times, we are always going to put jobs and growth first, and we are always going to make room for the wise investments of the future.
Business helps you make that growth. They make this nation prosperous. They're saying that this budget does absolutely nothing for them.
Well, do they want to see better schools? Yes, no. I've met a lot of leading business identities who have said to me, please, please, please do the reforms that David Gonski outlined for the nation. Well, this budget delivers it, not only for the next 4 years, but shows how we are going to fund it for the next decade. I've met lots of business people who have said to me, we do need to price carbon. We want an internationally linked system. I don't want to pay more in Australia than a counterpart overseas. I want the international price. Well, this budget shows that they will get the international price.